Trenger ikke gjøre det. Hopefully it's working. Hi again and welcome to, I almost said Damanhur, but welcome to Night Owl with me, Fay and Goura from Damanhur. I'm doing empowerment of women, and I love to have talks with smart, witty, generous, beautiful women. So welcome, Goura.
Thank you. Very pleased to be here again.
Thank you too. So I am sure there's a lot of new viewers and listeners. So why don't you talk a little bit about who you are before we start?
Yes. So I'm living in Damanhur, which is a spiritual community located near Turin, northwest of Italy. And well, I'm very passionate on transformative methods. So methods to transform yourself from within, starting from within. And so I'm dedicating a lot of time to this topic. I mean, since I would say 2002. And well, I'm going deeper into these many different knowledges by tapping into ancient wisdoms, ancient esoteric wisdoms. So my biggest passion is Damanhurian alchemy. But beside this, I'm still, exploring and gathering information and test them on me first to see if they work. So that's what I'm doing. And we have a school about alchemy in Damanhur. Is a school teaching esoteric methods. I mean, to reawake yourself, to reawake basically to your divine nature, to your maximum potentials. That's what I'm mostly doing.
I love it. I love it. And also you have to, I mean, Damanhur is a pretty special place. So you have to tell me a little bit about that as well.
Well, Damanhur is a federation of spiritual communities, is an international federation of spiritual communities. So the majority of communities are here in this valley, Val Chiusella, which is 40 kilometers from Turin. We have other few communities in the world, but basically Damanhur was born in the early 70s to create, let's say, an ideal space, a place, reality where people could explore more ourselves and their consciousness to express them, to express the best of them. So Damanhur was created for this reason. So to give birth in practice to that principle, to that divine principle we all contain. So a place where people can go deeper by knowing more about themselves, about reality, about many different topics connected to human potential, and express them. So to find out our talents, our passions, the uniqueness that each one of us contains, and to express it basically to benefit others first.
So would you say that Damanhur is a place where people have stopped complaining about who they are?
Not at all. Not at all. I wouldn't say that, because it is a very difficult issue for humans, to step out from the way we think we are. Well, from the way we manifest ourselves. And negative thinking, complaining, seeing the negative aspects of ourselves, of situations, of other people is something that we normally do, all of us. I mean, different rhythms, but with different rhythms and intensity, but all of us do it. And I mean, expressing all these negative aspects towards ourselves and others makes the process more difficult, the process of reawakening. because negative emotions are something that we would need to transform. Actually, in the alchemical inner process, we propose, is the very first step to stop manifesting negative emotions. It's something pretty difficult to be done, because you need, first of all, to understand how you work. So this is the very first thing. So to understand deeper how our mind, our body works, and then to start observing all this, to become aware of them. But basically, we do not think we need to work on them because we're not aware of the many negative manifestations we express, because they are automatic way of reacting. We do not even realize how many negative thoughts we have.
So, I know it. Yeah, sorry because this is really the topic for today. I really wanted, so we smoothly went into that, because it's, as you say, the brain is here to protect us. And a lot of times it protects us from, oh, no, don't do that. That could be dangerous. Or this is fearful, or there could be an animal there. And we're actually stuck a lot of the time in that protection mode, and that makes the negative thoughts.
I would specify, to go deeper into this topic, I would specify that, let's say that instinct, so that feeling of self-protection that we might feel, the one you were describing, is something natural that we have, is our instinctive aspect. And that is good. That kind of protection allow us to avoid difficult situations, let's say survival, situations in which, we risk our life. But that is a thing. What I'm talking about is different. Negative emotions that mostly, the negative emotion we mostly express, they belong to an aspect that we, let's say, artificially created, that we acquired through our conditionings, which is very different from instinctive protection. So I want to make these differences to go deeper into this, because the conditionings we received through our education and through our culture, instilled in us a specific way of thinking, that they're not necessarily useful for our spiritual growth or for our development, empowerment. They're not useful. I give you some examples. Sometimes, we feel, we are the majority, the average human, is not happy with the life he's doing, and is not happy with himself or herself, okay? And he constantly, within his mind, compare the educational system he received with what he has. For example, I'm not happy because I haven't been able to have a child in this lifetime, or because of my family educated me to bring up, to create a family. So I have children, but I have too many children. I cannot cope with them. Or my husband is never seeing the positive aspects on me. And this creates in me I'm not satisfied of the relationship I have. So this constant way of judging reality, what we have or what we do not have, is due to the fixed thoughts we received in our educational system. And we can't constantly associate reality, what we perceive in our life, to these fixed thoughts. And, the distance we might feel between what we've received as a mindset and what we have brings us to, to complain, not to be happy of what we have. So one of the very first strategies we need to apply is to to perceive what we have as it is without judging it, by accepting it. So I was saying before that, to be able to work on negative thinking, we actually need, very first thing, to know more about we work. Second thing, we need to perceive, before we express the negative thought, we need to perceive that is coming and not necessarily to express it. It might feel something, violent to do on ourselves, but we need, to be faster, with our mind, with our self-observation than the reaction. So normally what happens is that we react constantly to the outer reality, many times by, expressing, this negative thinking we have on us, on others, on events, on situations, etc. So what we need to do is to realize, so to be so in contact with ourselves, with our body, with our mind, by self-observing. We need to become faster than the reaction, and to note when these negative rising in us, and to stop them before they are expressed by us. This is an exercise. This is a very practical exercise to do, because, and you will realize if you do it, how hard it is to be faster than your reaction.
It kind of
is. Well, first of all, you will realize how many times.
Så vi har en dårlig linje. I think the line is pretty weak, so but hopefully Goura will be back.
What's happening? We disappeared. Fay, can you hear me? Fay, can you hear me? Oh no, you stopped.
I'm here.
Hello.
Hello.
We're back.
We're back. So much negative energy to perceive. It's like. But I just have to say something, because I thought of cut off the kid, because there's like, when there is a sting, it's like almost like the thought, when the thought is coming, you're just to perceive it and just it passes. But if you react on it, it's like it stings you. That's my visual I get on what you say, because I know it's hard. I'm just trying to translate, because you're so into this. I'm trying to translate to everyone first of all, you have to accept where you are, and
Yes.
then perceive, I mean, like, watch it, see it, and
Yeah.
everything doesn't have to touch your heart or your mind, and you don't have to like put a value. And that's what I see most women do. They talk about something first, more or less neutrally, and then they add positive or negative to it.
Right. I mean, that's the experience we're called to do in this physical plane of existence. But this is, being caught by duality. We need to, elevate our thoughts, because whenever we are able to elevate our thoughts and to not to manifest negative thinking, that's where our soul, our consciousness comes into play. So we need to understand that, well, the transformational inner process, or how you want to call it, the empowerment process, it depends. It has, of course, many layers, many levels. But if you really want to evolve and to give light and express your divine nature, you need to do this work of elevation of your thoughts. So we get caught, whenever we get caught in this negative thinking, is because it's mechanical. We are so, we have acquired internally this mechanism for, our entire life, that is an habit. We're not even aware of it, basically. We're not even aware. So it's very, very mechanical. And plus, we think that our negative emotions are produced by external events. This is another big illusion we live, because negative thoughts, negative emotions, they're not produced by the external reality. Let's say that we have this impression because our tendency is to give responsibility of the way we react to something that is happening externally, outside of us. So to the circumstance we're living, to the person, it's you, is because of her, of him, of that experience. So we constantly put outside of ourselves the responsibility of what's happening with him. This is an illusion. This is a great illusion, because negative emotions are expressed because you are, let's say, you are undergoing a process of stratification within you of negative things. When you explode, is normally not due because of the situation, of the person, but because within you have stratified, and most of the time in a very stressful way, many layers of things of yourself that you do not comprehend, that you do not know because you do not know yourself, of conditionings, of things that you are not able to manage about you. It's not due to the event in itself or to the person. Because if you think, in many different cultures, if you widen your cultural, educational boundaries, you might think about many things that in different cultures are perceived differently than you perceive them. The same thing. And also in different times of your life, depending on your maturity level, your experiential level, or depending on among the many parts you are made of is present in that very moment, you might perceive a same thing differently. So it's not due to the situation, to the person, but is due to the internal mechanisms, physical, emotional, that are, just working within you. And you don't know, because we don't know basically that we are, we're not one individual. We're made of many different parts, different from one another. And these many different parts, normally, they are not working harmoniously together. First, and then plus on the top of these many different parts we're made of, on the top of them, we create our own identity, what I would define identity. So the identity you identify with in this very lifetime, which is your role, your profession, who you think you are in this very lifetime, but who we are in reality, going deeper in the many layers we are made of. We are divine beings that we do not know how this body, how this mind work, because no one gave us the instruction flyer when we were born, to learn. But I mean, to learn more, to know more about you is essential to make also of the many parts we're made of, and also of these wrong. When I say wrong, is not, is not negative. Wrong is mean that is not beneficial, effective, functional, is not functional for your development.
So how can I elevate my thoughts, or how is a good technique for helping to release some of this conditioning that we are born into, in a way?
Well, first of all, we need to change our mental attitude. So, meaning that, many people think that to feel negative thoughts and negative emotions is necessary. I mean, is necessary. You cannot live without. How would you imagine your life if you do not have, problems, negative things to solve, or, to dedicate a lot of energy to? How would you live? I mean, for many people, is something that is not understandable, a life without negative emotions. So we need to change first our mental attitude, because negative thinking is not noble, is not something we need to be proud of, and is not something necessary to develop, to empower ourselves. So we have them. Of course, we need to recognize that we have them, and also to accept them willingly, willingly, not to judge them, because we can transform them. We can transform them. So first, step out from this mental attitude. Second, we do not realize that many times what we do is because we consider them so normal, to have them, that we also use justification to allow ourselves to live them. So we constantly justify ourselves to have negative thoughts, to feel negative emotions. This is another big illusion. Is pretty.
I totally agree. And justification, and we even defend them. It's like people usually say to me, it's easy for you to say. It's easy for you to say. It's like, no, it's no more easy for me, but you have to transform, and you say in a happy mode. But as you say, and also for us in Norway, I think it's so cultural. You are not supposed to brag about yourself, you know.
Right.
So then people tend to be negative, because then they don't say anything positive about themselves. You understand? It's like,
Yes.
no, this I mean, this knee is hurting, and this is hurting, and blah blah blah. And we do it to the body, we do it to our families, and we do it to our friends, and especially the homes, the workspace, our bosses. I call it to be in the kind of in the sacrifice role. You are just a sacrifice in your own life. It's like, no wonder I'm unhappy, because this and this and this is happening. And then they step out of the leadership in it, because they don't own it. They give the ownership away to everyone else. And of
Right.
course, then you feel powerless as well. You feel like a shit. You have no
Yes.
power. You cannot lead yourself, you know. You're not thinking positive, and then you just go into the hole.
Right. It's a vicious circle. It's a vicious circle. And when you were saying, yes, we give the ownership to others about them, well, by giving the ownership to others, we give our power away to others. Because
Yes.
unless we do not master this thing is guiding us, is mastering on us. So this is I mean, this is very important to keep in mind. To fight, I mean, first of all, so the mental attitude needs to be changed. So you need to bring everything within you and take responsibility for everything you yourself. In this way, you keep the power and the energy to work on them. So you do not have to, consider others or external circumstances the responsible for your negative thinking, but you take responsibility constantly for your negative emotions. And this is a way to preserve your energy and not to give it away. But you need to do a constant and conscious effort to become aware of them, meaning that through this technique of self-observation, this is the constant conscious effort you need to exercise. Okay, you will be able in time, but this requires exercise and time. I would lie to you if I tell you that it is easy to be done, because it's not. Because it's a matter of consistency and conscious effort, constant conscious efforts. In time, this conscious effort that is focused on creating this external self-observer is the creation of your higher external higher self, your external higher consciousness, becoming aware, becoming conscious of your own manifestations.
So I'll just have,
Yeah.
just because there is two levels here. And first of all, I have additional question to what are we talking about. Would you say that childhood traumas or traumas also are just negative thoughts to cope with or deal with?
They are, because yes. Well, first of all, it's it's not simple, but just think that whenever you direct your energy towards something, okay, you give birth to that something. So It might be negative or positive. So by thinking also, when you relate to your childhood traumas or negative experiences, first of all, you identify with them. but it's not you. I mean, it's not really you. It's an experience you've gone through, yes, but if you keep thinking that experience, if you think to that experience constantly, you are giving to that experience a lot of power and energy, and it will become more and more real.
It will come a beast, a trauma, huh?
Right.
Yes.
That then that beast will eat your thoughts. Is the vicious the circle that we were mentioning before. Whenever you give away, and I use this term, on purpose, when you give away your energy towards, to support or to express negative emotions, you give away your power. So if you notice, whenever you have negative thoughts, negative emotions, you are feeling at the end of the day or in that very situation, you feel drained.
Yes.
Your energy is just leaking. I mean, you are full of holes, draining constantly your energy. But we are not made, naturally to do this, because we are made as humans to go towards light, to go towards empowerment, to go towards our potentials, the express of our beauty. Nature is harmony, is beauty. That's our natural tendency. All the negative tendencies we have acquired them in this physical lifetime, because we're going through duality. Is that identity that was built by ourselves through the conditionings we received, and to which we are so identified that we made it real. Because
some people say to you, you don't take my childhood seriously at all, because I really had a bloody hell of a childhood, what would you say to them? I know, but there's what we're talking about, because there's so many holes in the energy. They really want also to be taken serious about their trauma. You understand?
yes.
So they're really fighting for staying in that state in many ways, instead of freeing themselves. They're like, my doctor says this, my psychologist says this, so blah blah blah. Who are you as a coach to tell me to cheer up? It's so how would you answer them in this?
I would say that we learned, as humans, we have relied too much on external opinions. So I'm doing as you're the same work, okay? But if someone comes to me, I would ask to the person not to rely on what I'm saying to that person, but to make the experience, the personal experience of this working on you by doing practical exercises to see in person if they have a positive impact on you. On that point, okay, you have the direct experience and you know that they are working on you. So we also need to learn, and it's not an easy task, that ultimately we are the masters of ourselves. Of course, there's mentors, people from whom you can learn. So mentors, coaches, normal people that have different experiences than you, and you can learn from them, okay? But they're not them deciding for you. You need to regain a deeper contact with your own inner light to make your own choices. Whenever, if you, the ultimate goal is to master, to become the master of your life. So to become able, you to make your own choices, no matter what others are saying. From what the others that are saying, you can pick tips and suggestions. But if you do not practice these tips and suggestions, they're just theories, also for you.
Absolutely.
They're just theories. So you cannot change yourself only by using, theories. You need to put them into practice. That's why I'm telling that, to transform yourself, you need to do practical work that is not just theory. Of course, it's useful to know more, as I said, about how you work, to know more about yourself, etc. And this is knowledge, theoretical knowledge. But then if you do not choose to undergo a practical process, you will never transform anything. And, by doing this practical process, you will realize that we need to become more neutral observers of reality. So we need to observe ourselves from a neutral point of view, so with no judgment, with no attachment to who we are, with no identification to what we think we are. And same thing, to read reality around us. So the many different experiences we're going through. Because if we apply a neutral perspective, we will be able to also understand more why we went through these experiences. So life is a school, okay? It's like we are attending a life class through life. We need to learn everything that we might have experienced, or we are experiencing, or we will experience, is something that we would need to consider useful to understand more about us, not others, us. So we need to project, all our thoughts, our work, our energy, if that is your goal, to develop, to further evolve, and only by projecting your entire energy and the experiences you live to understand what's happening within you through that experiences, by being detached by the experience itself, because you're focusing on you, okay? And observe what that experience brings out from you, and going deeper into that process. You will never gain anything if you do not detach. You need to acquire a more neutral approach to everything, because you will gain more clarity, okay, to understand how that process created within you, but due to an external event, okay, an external experience, is working on you and where is leading you, to be able to guide it consciously and not to be guided by it. So you need to do a step back, yes, in front of whatever is happening. And basically to stop the constant reaction we have, the automatic reaction we have towards people, toward experiences, toward events we're going through.
Would you say that school system and the academic systems actually makes us lose the senses of being something bigger or being a soul in itself. It's because we're just, as I see with the women I talk to, just I just have to take a master. I just have to take another program. I'll just have to do this. So they're always like, they're not living in the now because they have to have another master, have to have another loan, have to have a bigger car. They have to stuff all the time, so they don't even know who they are. They got lost in the system.
Yes, because we constantly confuse evolution, spiritual growth, with the identity the society is pushing us to gain through studying, through having a profession, through having a new car, a new house, or whatever it is. So that, of course, I mean, that is useful, I mean, to live better, okay? But it's not to be, all these things have not to be confused with spiritual growth, because when you are spiritually evolved, okay, and you start having spiritual perspective about reality, so by not judging, by not being attached to things, you acquire such a centeredness that, I mean, you might have all these things, or you might have more simple things, and you are happy anyway. I mean, and you, yes, I mean, nothing is, a void is, nothing is impacting on your, nothing, in terms of objects or in terms of theoretical knowledges you have are impacting on your spiritual happiness and spiritual approach to life. So the ultimate goal is to become, so in touch with your own consciousness, with your own divine nature, that nothing around you is impacting on this state of being. If you think our way of approaching things is just a state of consciousness, so we can approach negatively, yes, and we enter by using the negative side in that vicious circle that is attracting more negativity and more drain of energy. Or you can choose to act positively and to work on you, not to work mechanically anymore, but to choose to be in the position of choosing positive emotions, positive actions, positive thinking, to go in that, another is a creative circle in this, because it's creating for you more energy at your disposal, is creating for you more detachment to things. I mean, you don't need material things to be happy. They're not necessarily. I mean, if you go on a journey in South America or in Africa, in these countries where people have less things than Western people, you will notice that they're happier than us most of the time.
And not only
How is that?
Yes, and they're happier, but also, as I see in Vietnam, they're so much more into who I am. If they look in my eyes in a different way to see if I'm okay. I mean, and now I've been living the second time in the same hotel. They're even like, when I go out in the evening, they're like, "Did you have dinner?" I was like, I just love you. I tell them, "My darling, I love you because you think of me." It's like, I know we could say it's a woman in service, but it's not. You see, they're like, "Have you eaten? Have you done this? Have you done that?" And they're so protective, and they're so much more easy to open their hearts. Even if they're very shy, we connect so much more easy. And also they like the woman that makes this dress and her sister, when I did that, I wanted to buy some hairpins and stuff, and she was like, I'm gonna drive you, and on a scooter, you know, I had a helmet. We had to go to the next door shop to put on a helmet, which was this size, because my head is so much bigger than them, so I just had it on the top, and then we were driving around, and she went in the market holding my arm, and she was so proud. And it was like she's sending me messages. There's so much more easy to connect, as you say, because they have less. So for me, they're more human, or more humankind.
Perfect. More humankind, more
human. Yes.
I mean, they're expressing more their creative, divine nature. I mean, humankind for me is divinity. I mean, each one of us is a potential divine expression. Okay, is because we're so deep rooted in our education, in our culture, in our mindsets, in our program that has been, you know, put inside of us since we were born, that we're not aware that we are not who we think we are. So when you express constantly, well, when you were talking, I was thinking about this attention that you were explaining, of the people having attention for you, but true attention, real attention, you know, worried if you have eaten or not, but, you know, connected to their hearts. Yes. So this is something that we need to regain in our culture because of what we've been saying until now. So whenever you express negative thoughts and you have this incapacity of accepting what you are living as it is, okay, with no judgment, but as it is, for you to learn something, so bringing the attention inwardly, you're going to multiply negativity. If you're not able to do this, you're going to multiply your negativity. So you need to give the attention, to put all the attention. So attention, for me, is another term to say love. Attention equal love.
Love and connection, and it, of course, it goes both ways, because they came to me as well saying, why are you so warm and close? You're white people, they say, like white tourists are not usually like that. So there is, of course, there is so much love. And also, as you say, in everyday life, we can see everything very black and negative, and then you can see all the love that's out there. I mean, small animals, insects, there is flowers, there is the sky, there is the water, there is the sea, there is so much things that are alive, but we forget to be grateful about it. We just take it for granted, huh?
The thing is that what transforms everything is to have an active role with ourselves, with our life, to be active also in the transformation of the outer reality. But we need to play an active role towards ourselves. So we are deep into this habit of thinking ourselves as we are. I mean, with all our negativities, with all our traumas, with all our also positive aspects, but we see them, we're not seeing them so clearly, because the majority of us, I mean, are so drained by negativities, also because we are in a context, in the Western civilization context, and mostly, well, for the people who are living in cities, is becoming more hard, you know, to, when they are caught in this stressful way of living, is becoming more and more hard to really see, the beauty that is contained within us and outside of them. Nature is the expression of this beauty, okay? And the universe, it works through, intelligence, through complexity, through the active interconnection of things to manifest more beauty, more complexity. So the role we need to play is to become active again, also active towards our transformative process. Nothing happens if you do not do some work. Nothing happens.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And it's for me one of the things I do to, because when I went this time, I do this at least once a year, travel alone, because I call it to crush my ego, because I know my ego can get very big, and sometimes not only ego, but because we all do this, protect myself from, like, my father has been really sick and my husband as well, so I put on a guard, not to cry, not to be so sad, you understand, to cope with life. So I knew that this time when I went down, because my father has been really deadly sick for 8 months, and also my boyfriend, I knew that I told the universe, I'm going to crush my ego again, because I really want to be more empathic. I want to feel more. I want to be more of the Fay I remember that I am, not this hard woman that I feel that I am, And of course, when you tell the universe to do that, shit happens in a way, because it
Yes.
was really hard this time. But at the same time, I was so close to me all the time.
Yeah.
Understand? So I was so into me. And what I did every morning, I live in this beautiful place where the people that work there, I love the women there, and I easily connect with them. So in the morning, I take my journal, and now they know me, so they come with my pho. It's called like a soup you have in the morning with, it's a very good soup. And then the other guy come with my coffee, and they're like, I don't even have to tell them, and I just write in my journal about gratitude, but also about what you say, negative thoughts, because I think if I get it down and I see it, like, oh my God, is this true? Because it's not true. It's like a perception, as you say. But sometimes I feel that it just fills me. So it's like a garbage box. I just throw it out day by day by writing it out. So for me, that works very well. Do you have any other tips, like what we can do to get the negativity out?
Yes, to stay in contact with your whole being, not only mentally, but to your physical. Whenever we have negative thoughts, we produce corresponding chemicals in our body. They are toxins. The chemicals produced by negative thinking are toxins for our body. And if you keep doing it, for an entire lifetime, that's why you will probably die sick. So we need to stay more in contact, beside, creating a different mental attitude, as we said before. We need to perceive our body, what's happening in our body. Whenever you produce toxins by negative thoughts, and you do it, consistently, you might feel, beside being drained by your energy, so you do not have never enough energy. And you can you can note this. If you are a negative thinker, you note this, that whenever you keep in mind and they are, repetitive negative thoughts, you will perceive that your body do not have any energy to work. Plus, the chemicals were not really aware, about the immediate effects that these toxins are creating in our body. But in the long term, if you keep doing it, your health issues will probably be worse in time, because toxins, they are intoxicating, your cells, your body cells. And your body, because is working through the impulses that your mind is giving to the body. If you do not change the impulses in your mind, so the way of thinking in your mind, your body will just obey to what's coming as an impulse from your mind. That's the work of your body, to obey. But so we are intoxicated, we are so intoxicated chemically by this negative thinking that is a habit, okay, that we're not even aware of it anymore. But it will come out in the long term. For sure, it will come out with many different health issues, less or more serious, but it will come out. So another tip is, whenever you are experiencing something, so stay awake and also observe the perceptions, to perceive your entire body. And an incredible, for me at least, I invite you to try, and if it works, maintain it. If not, just don't do it. But for me, what really changed my approach to life was to have a daily practice, a daily spiritual practice, to orient, to direct my energy and my attention to every single morning. So, for example, breathing techniques. Breathing is a very, very simple and powerful technique to bring oxygen to your body cells, to create emptiness in your mind, within you, to release tensions, stressful, whatever. To create space, neutral space, because you're getting rid of your thoughts, of your toxins, because you're bringing oxygen. So you create space within you to live fully the day with neutrality. So another technique, this is what worked very, very powerfully with me. But then, to stop this, reaction mode we have, reacting to external events and giving them responsibility for our reactions and thoughts, do not react. Train yourself also by breathing whenever you are going through something that you consider awful or negative. Before you say something or you do an action, a reaction to that experience, breathe. Take your time to breathe. Do not talk, do not react. And in that space you create by breathing, you just observe within you the entire processes are going through you, and also physically. And then you take the time in that moment, in those moments you are breathing, to observe yourself and to decide in which way you want to act and which way you want to say what the words you want to say. So we need to create, we need to apply on ourselves methods. There are also, sometimes shocking methods, but to break habits, to break internal habits we have. So, that's what I can tell you. We need to apply strategic methods. to break habits, also mental habits and body habits.
Absolutely. I agree so much with you. And unfortunately, we have to break this now because we've been talking for 60 minutes again. It's
But
so
we're
easy.
gonna, yeah, yes.
Oh my God. So again, Goura, thank you so much for bringing your wisdom. It's amazing
Thank
how
you.
many layers of you that I perceive every time. And the more I get to know you, the smarter I see you are. It's amazing. And yeah, it's really joyful to have this with you. We have a lot more podcasts, so we'll meet you again.
Yes.
And you're listening to Night Owl, which is not only in the nighttime, it's more about usually we wake up in the nighttime when we listen to the universe or listen to signals. That's why it's called the Night Owl, because people say to me, well, it's in the middle of the night, so I don't have the time to sleep. But it's so that you know. So thank you so much. I'll end this.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mwah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Life is an ongoing process of learning. So keep
Absolutely.
in mind this always. So thank you and see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.